Do you think it's possible, nevertheless, for projections of one's own mind to become independently sentient?
For projections of one's own mind to become independently sentient. First of all, that depends what one means by projection of one's own mind, then what one means by independently sentient. One recollects in this connection some rather interesting accounts in one of Alexander David Neal's books, about Tupas. And if one takes literally or accepts as truthful in her accounts, it would suggest that this can in fact happen. I see no reason for doubting her. I don't think she was romancing. But it isn't, quite clear, from her accounts exactly, what happened. I haven't read those books for many years, but I think I had the impression at the time that the beings created were only, as it were, relatively independent, but they could get out of control. But even when they got out of control, became, as it were, independent, they weren't like human beings. It was though what had been created out, as it were, of the substance of the yogi, maybe the psychic substance of the yogi, had been taken over by some non-human entity. That was the impression I think I had at the time. I won't be too sure because I haven't read these things for 20, 30 years. I can't recollect any other detailed account of any such experiences. So the evidence, though apparently reliable, is rather slender. But it would seem the possibility is not to be ruled out. I think perhaps one can again refer to one's dream experience. When one dreams, everything that one experiences, all that the people, the beings that you encounter in your dreams, are manufactured, as it were, out of your own, let's say, psychic substance. And I think if you observe yourself carefully as you wake up after a dream or out of a dream, you can see this process actually happening. And you can, while actually awake, continue to experience the dream object or the dream person. You find that you then experience that dream object or dream person just as tangibly as you would have experienced them had they actually been an independent, living being, which is rather interesting. And you can, if you're very careful, if you're very mindful, you can sort of oscillate between the two, sort of sinking back into the dream and then emerging into the waking state. That is to say, withdrawing that projection, as it were, that particular creation, and then, as it were, projecting it again and experiencing it in all its apparent solidity while you are actually awake. So this sort of experience gives one a lot of food for reflection. You know all those traditions about incubi and succubi. Well, these arose out of one assumes, out of the rather vivid sexual dreams that young men and young women also would have, and no doubt still have. One dreams that one is, as it were, attacked by a female figure in the case of a male figure in the case of the female, attacked, as it were, sexually, but definitely attacked or molested in some way. And as one wakes up out of that dream, one has the sort of experience I mentioned of that dream object or dream person existing quite objectively, actually like a person, and as it were, fleeing away. And this experience seems to have given rise to this belief in entities, in your beings, creatures, called incubi and succubi. I forget which were the male and which were the females. But it is not merely subjective. This is why I use the expression psychic substance or psychic stuff. It's more than just a mere thought, a mere emotion. It is almost as though something quite literally is taken out of you on the subtle level, the subtle plane. As though that figure, that person, that being that you experienced was an extension of or manufactured from, let's say, your own astral body, for the sake of giving it a term.